it is Friday, track day. We're gonna see how she does. Pick her up off the ground real quick, just in case. I'm gonna do a quick spool test. Decided to just throw a temporary little nitrous kit on here, a 30 shot, because I really didn't have time to mess around with the, I didn't have time to play with the spool valve, or the dump valve. So I figured, well, this will get me up on the converter quick. It would have been okay either way, but I figured this is simpler. So I'll put you right here, you can watch. Let's see, I'll try to put it on the steering wheel here. Y'all can see. And I think it's probably gonna get up quick. I don't know, it's first test. We're gonna find out. 158 degrees, so it should be good. The air temperature right now is 64 with the water box on, so not bad. I got it set to come on 2800, shut off at like 44. So we'll see how quickly it hits. I didn't really even purge it, so it might take a little extra time. Oh, that was quick. Oh, that was quick. Holy crap. That was quick. I kind of like using this, honestly. It's really easy. Let's take a look and see what kind of time it took here and what it got to. And I didn't sit on the chip long, but I just want to see what we got from the time we went until I'm going to take it a little bit after, because I did not purge it at all. So let's see here. We'll start there, like 0, yeah, no boost. So that's probably pretty accurate. And then it hit 5100, 23 pounds of boost in 4 point some seconds. So, and the nitrous was only on for, oh wait, let's start from the nitrous hits, or shortly after the nitrous hits. Let's try that. Just kind of get an idea. So yeah, 4.2 seconds. Nitrous was on for 2 seconds, and I bet it was mostly just air. Let's try it again real quick. Start it and see what we get. Do one more test real quick. Transmission was dead cold on that too. I barely just started it up and let it warm up to engine temperature. So, all right, I'm just gonna hammer it. Oh yeah, we got the boost there. What are we gonna launch at tonight, folks? That was 28 pounds of boost, 27.9. So I feel pretty good about that. Might have to add some fuel where it hits that nitrous real quick, but I think we're good. We're gonna take her to the track. I'll do another video on the way there, have it loaded up, and then we'll see what we got. I'll add this to that video and put it together for a video for tonight. Well, went a 142 first hit.
142?
Yeah, 142. I guess that's okay.
Anything on the front back tires?
Huh?
On the back tires.
Did you get a good video?
Okay.
Ah, fuck. I think it blew a coupler or something. I gotta look at the log and see what the fuck's going on though. Ugh. Man, this thing is not like my truck though. This is like full race car. I do not like it. It's not the same at all. These front springs are so fucking tight that like it's crazy.
They didn't squat anything.
They just squatted just. Alright everybody, I'm gonna do a little video of a recap of the night, and I'll put some videos that were taken by my friend and his son there tonight of the 2 passes that I made. I only made 2, and I'll explain why. Basically, I had planned on just running 60 foots, so I kind of went with that expectation, mainly for the exact reason that I ended up only running 60 foots. So first pass, you'll see it in the video. Basically, I came up, I had the launch set at 5100 RPM, and I didn't even sit on the chip at all. So it came out at 21 pounds of boost, and then it quickly ramped up to 39. And it ended up, fortunately, I say fortunately, normally I wouldn't be too happy about this happening, but fortunately it had popped a coupler off of the primary turbo entrance, and I had forgotten that I just had a worm clamp on that. I had just had it on there for mock-up, but it was hidden down there and I forgot about it, unfortunately, so I have to get a T-bolt clamp on that. But anyway, so what happened was I got out about maybe 80 feet, I bet, and if you listen to the video, you'll hear it. It came out, it went a 141 60 foot. I'll go over the 60 foot as well as to what I think is going on with it, and see, you know, I'm sure some other people will have some better ideas, but what I'm going to say, what I see right now is it's basically good for radials. I got a good inch of separation in the back. The front it's very tight. These springs that are on here, I wanted to change them, I just didn't have enough time. They are probably 200-pound springs, I'm guessing, that are in the front of this, for something like either a cast iron Chevy motor or a Ford motor or something like that. Weighs quite a bit more. It's very, very stiff. When you drive it, it's like driving a buckboard. It's that bad. And so that is one of the issues. If you watch the video, you'll see it. It launches. These tires they're new, but they're 10 years old. They haven't been used. I need to reiterate how this is. They are, you know, they have all the tread, but they're probably 10 years old. I haven't looked at the date, but I know they're older. They came with the car. But I figured, well, for what I'm doing right now, it's a good idea just to use them. If they work, great. If they don't, it didn't really matter to me. And it was just one less thing I had to do before I ran to the truck. So, first of all, separation was good. Planted the tires. You could hear some tires spin, but it did pull the tires immediately, like right off the hit. And so I had the front shocks completely loose on it. The back shocks also loose on separation. They're tight on compression, but there was no compression going on there. I think the instant center is set up pretty well right now, but it came up really quickly. and then it topped out. There's only like 2 inches of travel on these front shocks, if that, I bet. I haven't really measured that yet. Again, it's new. I wasn't really getting too crazy about it, but that is what's going on. Was it topped out really fast? Front end came up probably 3-4 inches, and then it immediately came back down. As soon as it topped out the shock completely, then it unloaded the tire, and then it drops the front right back down. And then it comes and it bounces right back up. If you watch the video, it comes up, comes down, comes back up. Horrible situation, honestly, for it. If it was making real power, it probably would have just smoked the tires. But on to the way the launch was set up. Basically, I have in the primary turbo, I have it on wastegate spring only. And I measured the spring with a bike pump. I was going to show that video, but that doesn't really matter. It basically, it came up like 5,100, 21 pounds of boost, and it was on the 2-step, and I think it was even still kind of, when I let go of the trans brake, it was still in the middle of a pop. If you listen to the video, it just hadn't made enough boost, and so it kind of came out still, but it went a 141 60-foot, even with all that craziness that was going on. So I'm not too disappointed with that. So then what I did, and then to go on with this same run, it ramped up really quick to almost 40 pounds of boost. And I had said before, and probably in the prior video, that the reason I was only doing 60 foots is I only have the one 044 fuel pump on there. And so at maybe 28 to 30 pounds of boost, it's enough fuel to get you. It's enough to get through a 60 foot, probably a 330. But if you hit 40 pounds, it's not enough fuel. And I knew that. That's why I'm kind of glad that coupler popped off, because to be honest with you, I probably wasn't watching my wideband close enough, because it went up to 13.5 to 1, which, you know, it's not horribly bad, but it's enough that you could burn it if it was on, if it was fully loaded. So fortunately that happened. I came back. So with that said, let me stop messing myself up here. I'm going to put this all in the video because why not? Primary turbo, wastegate, set with a tire pump, cracks open at 15 pounds. Right there. It has an 8-pound spring, and then another spring that was cut. They're those real small Turbo Smart style wastegates, and so you have to have specific kind of springs on there. And so I just trimmed one down that fit as a secondary spring, and it worked perfectly. It opens up fully, and it's right about 15-16 pounds. So that first turbo probably will make 15 to 18 pounds. Now the second turbo I had set to the top side with no, and it was just a wastegate, but there was no boost controller. So it was gonna do what it was gonna do. And I didn't think that it was going to, just boost up so quickly. But once it took off, it took off. And honestly, I think it would have ran perfectly fine had the coupler stayed on and I had enough fuel. I think I can run it like that, and it may be how I run it in the future. But it basically got too lean and ended up popping the coupler off, thankfully. And then I came back. We put a different clamp on there that we ended up having another worm clamp, but a much better quality one. Ciro had one on his GM truck, and so we put that on there, and it worked fine. I go up, I make the next video is the second one that I did. Well, on this one, I turned up the launch RPM, 100 RPM to 5,200 RPM, and then the only other thing I did was I changed on the secondary turbo, the big turbo, on that wastegate, I put it to the bottom side, and that only has an 8-pound spring in it. And what I found out was, and I should have known this as much trans brake testing as I've been doing this week, but I didn't think back on it. What it ended up doing is it pretty much, it only made 17 pounds on the hit, because the small turbo, it started to get the big turbo going, and then it dropped down. The wastegate opened up really fast. So it really, on the two-step at 5100, I think it might have made 17 to 20 pounds. So it was starting to get the big turbo going, but not enough. It just wasn't enough. It just didn't get the big turbo spinning. And ultimately on that pass, it only made 26, 27 pounds. So what ended up happening is it sounds like it takes a lot longer to spool up. It barely is on the chip, you know, not really doing very well. And so the 60 foot was a 151. It was sluggish. You can see the boost ramps in almost linear like a supercharger. So that's that, you know, it is what it is. The other thing I did find out was that on my ice box, it has a vent tube on it, and I had a hose on there, a -6 hose about a foot long, thinking that it's not gonna, you know, come out that long of a hose. Well, it did, and it ended up I felt the car get a little bit weird about probably 200 feet out, and it felt like the tires completely let go. Well, it probably was getting a little bit of water on the passenger side tire. Unfortunately, it's one thing I thought about with having that ice box right there, but I'll put a plug on that like I have on my truck. I don't think I need a vent on that, to be honest with you. I don't have one on the truck, so I'm probably just going to put the 6AN plug on there, and then that should fix that. And I'll probably throw a big towel on it just to make sure that nothing can get out of there and onto the ground, just for my safety and everybody else's safety. So I did run that one out a little bit more because the boost, I was watching the wideband was perfect 11.8, but it was 26. It wasn't making any power. And I let off at about 4 seconds into the run, right around 4.0. It ran a 7.0, so probably would have ran a 6.0 somewhere in there, I bet, if I would have stayed on it. But at that point, the car was feeling a little weird. I thought about it, and I went tonight just to kind of, it's the first pass on the car. You know, you build a car, you don't know what it's going to do. And honestly, I'm not disappointed, but I'm not exactly happy either. I think it's good, but it's going to improve a lot. I think I can see a lot of upside with what it's got going on. So I feel good. Engine's perfect. Not a lick of oil in the catch can. A little bit of ethanol, but not a lick, not even one little drop mixed in with that ethanol. So I'm happy with the engine. The transmission is working fine. Spooled up, let's say, pretty quickly, but not as quickly as I want, but it was good enough. So then I thought about it. I was gonna put the wastegate back on the primary or the secondary turbo back to what it was, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm one of those people, I need a hard limiter for myself, because what can happen is the run feels good, you stay in it, or you just stay in it too long. Things happen pretty fast. It's only 2 seconds into the run, it might have leaned out again. And so I just said, you know what, I think that's enough. A 141 60 foot is an okay starting place. I think I can knock a tenth off of that real easily. New tires for one, fix the shocks in the front, that'll help. We'll see what else I can do. Obviously get the fuel system. I got the parts here today to put the rest of the pumps on. That'll give me enough fuel for 1200 horsepower. So that should give me enough. It showed me that it can make the boost, it can make the power. If I had all the fuel there, it would do its job. The first video sounds pretty rowdy. If you listen closely, you'll hear the two-step still going, and I don't know if that's the function of the release of it, or it just happened to be on a pop or something, but it probably slowed that 60 foot down slightly anyway. But it's okay. Like, I think it's a good first outing. It's the best first outing 60 foot I've ever had of building a car. A lot of other guys may say, oh man, if I didn't hit a 120 first thing out, I would have just taken it and torched it. But to me, it's a 4-cylinder Mustang. What do you want? You know, you're going to get what you're going to get. But I do think it has a lot of potential. I think I'll get into the 120s probably within the next couple outings. I think it'll be a high 120 60. I don't know what it's going to do in the 8th. I really don't care yet. I just going to focus on get the 60 down to the 120s. If I can get it into the teens eventually, that's kind of the goal. But right now, if I can within a month get it into a high 120 60 foot, be fine with me. And I think just a couple little changes, probably radials, probably either longer, say 110 pound springs in the front or 125 pound springs in the front, to where I can get some extension. I don't know what these shocks are going to do. So that'll tell me, the shocks may not have enough travel overall. But I also think if I had tightened up these shocks a little bit, that probably would have helped, because it would have kept it from coming up and topping out the front shocks. And it kind of unloaded. If you watch, it unloads it 2 times and you can hear it. Because the car is kind of quiet, honestly, with this turbo setup, so you can hear the behavior. But I think with radials, tighten the front shocks. If I just did those 2 things and even leave these springs, I think I'll get a high 120 60. But I'll have the fuel pumps on by then. I'll definitely have the dump valve on by then, done, and probably have some radials on it. And then from there we'll see what it does. But that might be next week, or maybe the week after that. I generally try to go once a week, and the car has done really well. So I feel like it was a good first outing. I didn't even know, I said it in the last one in the comments to Derek, that I didn't even know what to expect of the 60 foot. I said something like, if it's sub 140, I'd be happy. Well, it was a 141, and maybe I'm okay with that. But anyway, I'm going to put this on YouTube with the videos that were given to me. And if you can please comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I will be doing a lot more videos with this car. Hopefully we'll get her, sorted out within the month, and be able to come back with some real racing action soon enough. But that's it for tonight, guys.